My mom was a meth addict. So my siblings and I grew up with very little. Normally she would pull her head out of her ass enough around the holiday season to sign up with a church or charity to get us a food box and some presents. However, by the time I was 11 she was so far gone we could go weeks without seeing her leave her room or her be completely gone from the house. I entered a drawing contest at my school around this time. I won a $100 gift certificate to our local mall. One day after making sure my siblings made it to school I played hooky and walked to the mall, about 3.5 miles. I bought my 3 siblings some presents, almost forgot to get myself something, ended up buying some discounted body wash, then had them wrapped there at the mall before trekking home. I hid the presents in the crawl space till the 24th. I was right, our mom did nothing. When my siblings were distracted by a movie I snuck out and put the box of presents on the front porch before knocking and running away. I snuck back in the back door by the bathroom and heard my siblings yelling, "Someone left a box on the porch that says Merry Christmas." I had also spent the last week before winter break going door to door asking for canned food donations, saying it was for a food drive at my church. I didn't have a church, so that we didn't spend the whole winter break hungry. I'm so glad all 4 of us made it out of our childhood and not one of us took the same path as the woman who birthed us at it, spelling.
My friend is a major Death Cab for Cutie fan. They came to our city a couple years ago, and I knew she wouldn't be able to afford the tickets to go. She was upbeat about it, but I know she was devastated by it. I bought tickets. 2 days before the show, I told her that the friend I originally planned to take couldn't go, and would she please come with me? There is no other friend. Told her I love the band and would be sad to miss them. She of course accepted and had the time of her life. She's doing much better now, but every couple of Christmases or birthdays she gets me some Death Cab merchandise because she knows how much I love the band. I can't stand their music. I literally have them blocked on Spotify. But now it's gone too far where I can't tell her.
First marriage to my late wife. On the day of the wedding, the ring got stolen out of my car. I was freaking out. My 2 best men went into overdrive and took a picture I had of the ring and went to I don't know how many jewelry stores explaining what had happened, and if they had a ring that was similar. They went to this really great jewelry maker, so said, "I have something that is really close. Give me a bit, and I can make it perfect." He worked his ass off and got it done with about an hour to spare, plus the managed to get my window fixed. The 3 of us are the only ones who know. I ended up using that jewelry maker for any jewelry I needed, and well, I haven't stopped yet. He ended up telling my best men to not worry about the price, and for me to come down after the honeymoon to work it out. I did, and he gave it to me at the cost of the materials. He is a great guy. He retired during COVID.
I was about 10 years old and was pretending to be sick to avoid going to school. This was the 1980s, so the old-school, glass tube, mercury-filled thermometers were still a thing. My dad was getting ready to leave for work as I worked my magic to convince my mom to let me stay home for the day. Neither one of them was having it. I persisted. Out of frustration, my mom grabbed the thermometer and put it under my tongue. I knew it would read 98.6 and this was my only shot to avoid school for the day. Both of my parents stepped out of the room for a moment. I looked over and saw my dad's piping hot cup of coffee sitting on the counter awaiting his morning commute. I quickly dipped the thermo into the hot java. It instantly shattered, emptying the toxic mercury into the coffee along with tiny shards of glass. I panicked. In my mind, there were only a couple possible outcomes. My dad dies of heavy metal poisoning and a lacerated esophagus. Or, I fess up to what I did. I could hear them coming around the corner about to return to the kitchen. At the last possible second, I swatted my dad's mug off the kitchen counter, smashing it on the floor, creating a coffee explosion in my mom's freshly cleaned kitchen. They burst in the kitchen aghast at the mess I created. I reply with a flurry of sorries and apologize profusely for being clumsy. My dad is furious because now he won't have coffee on his way to work. My mom is pissed and she starts cleaning up the mess. In the chaos, everyone forgets about my claims of illness. I slipped the remainder of the broken thermo into the trash and went to the bus stop, saving my father from a horrible death, at least in my mind at the time. Until this day, I have never told anyone about this.
If anyone was at the Hyatt Regency in Columbus, Ohio, right before the Origins Game Fair in 2018, I have your white noise machine. You left it in the hotel room. I didn't even realize for half my stay. I was like, oh, this is actually really convenient, figuring it was just a new thing the hotel was doing. That is, until I visited my friend's room, where they didn't have one, then noticed I could unplug the one in my room and realized it must have been left behind. I told the front desk about it, but they insisted it didn't need to be moved to a lost and found. Told them to tell me if anyone called looking for it, but no one did. So, thank you, forgetful stranger. It has actually helped immensely with my sleep.
When my wife died, she had been working on special occasion letters for all of our kids. Towards the end, the cancer had spread to her brain, and she wasn't able to focus on writing much, and when she did, it was often unintelligible gibberish. I tried to help her by taking dictation, but she said it would mean more if it was in her own handwriting and wanted to finish it. She slipped into a coma and died after only getting through a handful of letters for our eldest child, leaving addressed envelopes only for our other 2 kids. I knew this would be devastating for the 3 kids and possibly create conflict, so I paid a woman who specialized in calligraphy to literally duplicate my wife's handwriting. I gave her the content, channeling my wife's comments she made to me about what I thought would be meaningful words to our 3 kids when I had helped her dictate a few. And as she wanted, I have passed them out on special occasions of wedding dates, birth of first child dates, first day of college dates, etc. My kids don't know. They've even shared the ones she actually wrote with ones written by her surrogate, and thus far the secret remains safe. I haven't told anyone else this, but read it and hope it stays here a secret as well. I'll take it to my grave. I consider it harmless as it was her intent, but cancer robs so much from people afflicted with it, including their best, most sincere attempts at helping others cope with the loss themselves. Edit. Wow, thank you for all the awards and comments of encouragement, gang. I'm humbled by some of the messages. Thank you.
I've had type 1 diabetes since I was 3. On my 9th birthday, my grandma made a birthday cake for me, which was big enough for us all to share at the family party. Since there was so much food, we had plenty of leftover cake for the next few days, which I was only allowed to eat a little bit of. When no one was around, I snuck into the kitchen and ate a couple slices of the leftover cake, plus I picked huge chunks of the icing off. It looked pretty haphazard by the time I snuck away again. My parents soon found the remains of the cake. Since I'm diabetic, they didn't suspect that it was me who picked at the leftovers. I was usually a very well-behaved kid. They blamed it on our rather chubby cat, and promptly deemed it unacceptable for human consumption. It was a believable scenario because she had stolen human food in the past. Sadly, they threw the rest of the cake out. I could never own up to it because I would have been in trouble for compromising my blood sugar levels, and for being greedy. My old cat never ratted me out for letting her take the blame, though. Thanks, Molly, R.I.P. Edit. I'm a woman and this was the year 2000, before the medical technology we have now. Back then, I only checked my blood glucose at mealtimes so the crime wouldn't have been evident until the next morning, and that's only if I was honest about my blood glucose level. There was no such thing as sliding scale dosage back then, so eating more cake was very much a bad idea. Hence only being allowed a little bit. Edit 2. It was sitting out on the kitchen table and hadn't been wrapped up and put away yet, lol. It was butter icing, which made the cat theory a bit more believable. Edit 3. We didn't have such easy access to info like cats' taste receptors back then.
I worked at Virgin Mobile, now Virgin Plus, so I sold people's phones and cell phone plans to them. I was closing by myself one evening at a kiosk in another mall. I had been asked to cover a shift, when a woman came in pretty close to closing time, like maybe a half hour before. She had explained to me that a local women's shelter had given her money to get a SIM card and prepaid plan, and they had given her just enough to cover the first month of a specific plan we had. She was at the women's shelter after fleeing an abusive relationship, had to delete all her social media profiles, change her emails, phone number, and was even in the process of changing her name because her partner had almost killed her and was looking for her. I remember I could still see the bruises on her face and arms. Problem was, the shelter hadn't given her enough to cover the taxes. I live in Canada, in a province where the tax rate is 15%, or the SIM card fee. She told me she just had to check her bank account to see if there was money in there to pay, even though her ex had drained it after he discovered she'd ran. If she covered the taxes herself, she would have had less than $2 left to her name and the clothes on her back. My heart ached for her, being a survivor of domestic abuse myself. I got her phone number and first top-up all set up, and when it got to the total owed, She had taken out her debit card, and I just told her not to worry about it. I didn't make her pay for any of it because I couldn't possibly fathom leaving this woman with no money when she was already scared, hurt, and starting her entire life over. She immediately started sobbing, thanked me for being so kind, hugged me and left. I've never told anybody except my current partner, and definitely nobody I worked with.